In a few weeks, I turn 48, and I've decided to set a goal to complete a half marathon in under 3 hours before I turn 51. 3 years gives me lots of time to work up to this goal safely and to have fun while doing it. Welcome to the first episode of Strength for the Journey. I'm Debbie. I'm an online personal trainer, and I spend my time helping real life folks get strong for real life. So, 3 hours for a half marathon is actually pretty slow. I'm well aware of that. I've completed 3 other half marathons. The fastest I ever did was 3 hours and 9 minutes. I really thought I was gonna have it that time. So it's just this something that has been always lingering for me, something that I really wanna go after. I even completed a marathon. I say completed because truthfully, that did not go as planned either. I am the literal last finisher on the webpage for that race. So this time I wanna do it right. I wanna take my time. And I want to make sure to use my skills as a personal trainer to make sure that I am safe, strong, healthy all the way through the process. And that's really the key for me here. This half marathon goal, this 3 year long term plan, it's not really about the race. I don't even have a specific race picked out or planned. I may not even do a race. The reason I want to have this long term goal is to give me some structure and some focus for my workouts. One of the things I've learned as a trainer and just personally is that working out without having a reason, it's much more difficult. It really makes it a lot more likely that you'll just skip a workout because if you don't have a reason for getting out there and doing it, it's easy to let life get in the way and knock you out of your routines. Setting up a why or a reason or really identifying that is something I do right away with my clients because it gives them some motivation to get the work done when motivation starts to wane, because it will definitely do that. So we're in the beginning of January 2026, and this is a time that I always like to use to set intentions for myself. Not necessarily goals, but sometimes it turns into that to give me a focus for what my year will be like. Last year, 2025, this time last year was really a struggle. My mom had fallen and was in the hospital going through a couple of surgeries. And it made the start to my year really challenging. We ended up losing mom after a couple of months. And so, if I'm honest, the entire year of 2025 really felt very difficult for a lot of reasons. But this year, taking the time to set my intentions, it made me realize that that's something that I never got to do last year. And I think I really felt it all year long. My focus and my motivation to achieve certain things, it just was a struggle this year again, for a lot of reasons, but it has felt really good in 2026 to have something to latch onto that's helping me feel excited about getting myself into a good routine again. During 2025, even though it was a struggle all the way through, I really did a pretty good job of keeping up with my workouts. And that's because I had a nice routine and habits already in place. So it wasn't something I had to think about or set up. It was just something that I already do. And that was really, really important. And the amount that I was relying on that structure and those routines really became apparent in September. We ended up moving, and now I'm about 45 minutes from work. The time that I used to get up and work out in the morning is now the time that I get up to just get ready for my day. So I lost that time. And then at the end of the day, in addition to certain days still having clients that I'm training in person, that 30 to 45-minute commute on the way home means that I'm getting home and feeling a little bit more of a challenge to want to get out into the gym and get my workout in. So I am hoping that 2026, having this goal of the half marathon and just running in general, getting back to running, will provide me some of that motivation and accountability to get myself back into some new routines and new habits in our new space. All that to say, if you have had a time in your life where things just got disrupted and put you out of sorts and made it really difficult to want to focus on your health, I'm with you. I feel you. And together we're going to figure this thing out. So, of all the possible goals that I could choose, why a half marathon and why in 3 years from now? That seems like a pretty big time frame. And it is. And I know it is. And honestly, I may not even get to a race by the end of the 3 years, but running has been something that I have circled back to often. Just it fits with my soul. It's something I enjoy. I really like the process of coming up with a plan for my running. I like the progression that occurs where you go from where I'm going to start with just walking and then slowly, gradually increase what you're able to do. It's a real tangible result, and I enjoy that. In the past, I have had several different stints with running. I even completed a marathon, and as I mentioned, it didn't go as planned. And all of that happened because I just didn't give myself enough time. I didn't give myself the time or the space to really build myself up and my abilities up before I started adding too much mileage. So having the 3 years will really help. The fastest half marathon I did was in San Francisco. I finished in 3 hours and 9 minutes, and I was on pace to break 3 hours up until the 10-mile mark. And then that particular half marathon, the last 3 miles of it, hit the San Francisco hills, and I started getting some cramping in my leg that just meant that I had to walk a lot more than I had in the first part of the race. So 3 hours and 9 minutes really left me feeling like I know I can do it. And this time around, I'm going to be more prepared. I have a lot more knowledge about strength training, and I'll be able to incorporate that into my program so that I stay healthy, get strong in the areas that I need to get strong to stay healthy. And being 48 means that I'm going to need to be real cautious and careful with my recovery. It won't be the same as when I was in my 30s. And so that strength training really is the key to why I chose this goal in the long term. I want to make sure that I get back into the garage, but get back into my routine of workouts. In the beginning, I'm not going to worry too much about having anything very specific to running. I don't need anything specific in the beginning. And honestly, if you're just coming to working out from having not worked out in a long time, you don't need anything special either. If you find something you enjoy and you keep coming back to it, anything is good. Anything that gets you moving is good. And that's kind of what I'm focusing on here. So in January, I'm not even going to start with running. My entire focus for January is going to be about rebuilding that consistency and the habits in the new space and the new location where we live. I'm going to have 2 full body workouts per week and 2 zone 2 cardio sessions per week. So it's not a lot. It's like the minimum effective dose because I just want to set the bar as something that's achievable so that I can ensure success because then that will build the momentum as I move forward. It's something I do with my clients as well. We start with something that is achievable, and then every win starts to stack. And then you can start trying more and more challenging things because your confidence grows. So in January, those 2 full body workouts will be done here in the garage gym. My plan for this coming week, we go back to work. So I work full time in education. And my goal for this first week will be to do a strength training workout Monday after I get home. So after work, I train a client and then I come home. And so I'll train that day. And then I'm going to lift also on Thursday. Thursdays, I get home usually around 4:30. And then Tuesday, and then maybe Saturday or Sunday, I haven't decided yet, I will do those zone 2 cardio sessions. So what does that mean? Like how is zone 2 if I'm not running, what is zone 2 compared to just regular walking, which I am going to be incorporating a daily step goal as well. Zone 2 cardio, the best way to describe it without needing any fancy equipment is that if you were on the phone with somebody while you were doing that cardio, whether it's walking, running, riding the bike, any of those things, if you were on the phone with somebody, they would probably at some point ask you, "Are you okay?" Because they could hear it in your voice. You could still talk, but you're going to have to take a breath more often than you would if you were just talking while you were sitting down. And so it becomes apparent that you can hear in somebody's voice that they're working a little bit, that's when you know you're in zone 2. You've gone too far out of zone 2 if you can't really talk a full sentence or 2 sentences without having to take a breath. If you're having to take a breath every 3 or 4 words, you're going a little bit too hard and it's time to scale it back. We will know that we're in zone 2 when it takes a little bit of extra breath, but at the same time, we don't want to have to be taking a breath every 3 or 4 sentences. And you shouldn't be able to sing. If you're able to sing, you could probably be working a little bit harder. So, what am I going to do for that zone 2 cardio? I have a tread. And because the weather's been kind of wonky here in my area in Los Angeles, and by wonky, I mean it's been raining way more than we're used to. I'm going to be using that treadmill quite a bit. I will I can probably walk on a flat surface pretty quickly without getting into zone two. So I think I'm going to use the incline on the treadmill quite a bit. That will help me to increase my heart rate, make my heart work a little bit harder, which is the purpose of zone two cardio. We want to get our heart is a muscle. Our heart is a muscle. So we want to make sure that we are making it work so that it can get stronger, just like my quads and my legs are going to get stronger as I do squats. So by putting the incline, it will allow me to work a little bit harder without having to go too much faster and get into running. And the reason for that is because running is it's a little bit jarring on the legs. And so for the first few months, it may be into months 3 or 4 before I even really worry about putting some jogging intervals in. The focus will be mostly tread incline walking, but I also have a bike and a rower. So I'm going to mix those things in as well. Anything I can do to increase my interest, increase my variety, and to make sure that my heart is getting itself a real nice workout. One last thing before I sign off. I mentioned that I was the literal last finisher in my marathon. And that's honestly probably only because my dad convinced them to not pull up the pad that you have to walk over to get your sensor to mark that you finished. It did not go as planned. The first 13 miles, which is hopeful for my half marathon, it went pretty well, but by about mile 17 or 18, wow, the wheels really fell off. And we did a lot of real slow walking to get ourselves to the end of that race finished. But there's something about running a longer distance that really makes me feel like I just know I can do it better. I enjoyed the process the last few times of training. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't want to do it again. But I feel like I can do it better so that I can show up to the start line and make it to the finish line feeling better than I did the last few times. I probably will use a run walk all the way through. I don't know that I'll make it a goal to run 13 miles without stopping. It's just not necessary for where I'm at in my life. Just completing the race will be my goal. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. The pace that I would need to hit in order to finish under 3 hours is like 13:45, 13:44 per mile, which that's not fast. Like some people walk that fast. I know that. So it feels doable, which is I think also another reason that I like this goal, why it excites me. I didn't say a marathon, although at some points in thinking about this, if I think that if it goes well, I could end up being interested in doing another marathon. We'll see. I have promised myself that I would not train for a marathon unless I can run a mile easy in zone two under 10 minutes. And that's just because the amount of time it takes, when you're doing 15, 16-minute miles, an 8-mile training run on the weekend, like that eats up a lot of time. So in order to commit to a longer race, I definitely would want to be faster. So we'll see where we get. But that's it. That's my first episode. I want to use this podcast as a way to share not just the process of training for the half marathon, but my strength training, how that changes and adapts as we go through. And then I'd like to share some of the wins for my clients, share some insight about different exercises and training. If there are questions that you have that things you'd like me to cover, either leave them in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube or shoot me an email. I would love to be able to interact with more folks who are chasing big goals or people that are just trying to figure out how to get started. My focus as a trainer is really on folks who are, I don't know, say 40 and above, who are professional parents. They don't have all the time in the world to get their workouts in. It's always my goal to help these people find a way to fit fitness into their life. I was talking with a client today and she was expressing how much she misses going to the gym and getting her strength workouts in. So we're working on a routine for her to get her going again in 2026 as well. I just want to help people feel better, feel stronger, feel confident. And I hope that by sharing my process through this podcast, it will help people to do that. If you want to find out more information about my coaching, you can go to journeytofitwithdebbie.com. The link will be in the show notes. You could also follow me on Instagram. My handle there is journey_to_fit19. Again, I'll put that link in the show notes. I'm going to be posting a lot more about my journey on Instagram now that I have a reason to get back to working out. I'm going to get better at posting on Instagram as well. And if you know that you should be working out and you're not sure where to start, or you just want some accountability and support in the process, email me at Debbie@journeytofitwithdebbie.com. I'd love to be able to help you out. Thanks for joining me in the garage gym today. I'm Debbie. Keep showing up and building your strength for the journey. I'll catch you in the next one.